Good afternoon. I just recently made a video discussing the issue of a law of identity and showing that grace is either all grace or works is either all works. It can't be both. That's what Romans 11:6 is telling us. And I'm going to read here from Ruckman's Dispensational Truth to show exactly that he's saying the same thing in this area, and it's going to be one or the other. It's either going to be a whole entire grace system or entire work system. And so he says here, talking about in the garden, salvation by works, and that not of faith but of sight, 2 Corinthians 5:7. That is not the slightest hint of Acts 16:31, Romans 10:9-10, or Acts 13:39, anywhere in Genesis chapter 2. There are no 10 commandments, there's no golden rule, no blood atonement of any kind is out of the question. Adam is saved by works, and that of himself. It is not the gift of God because he didn't have it. He didn't have it because he didn't need it. It's perfect. The garden was perfect and there's no need for grace. To say that salvation was like that of the New Testament is to confess that your pilot light has gone out, gone out. So no one's saying that. We know before the fall there was no grace needed, because it was a perfect system, perfect environment, and Adam was on his own volition to choose or not to choose for God or against God. We will not run into this works plan of salvation again before we get to Revelation chapter 20, which means that from Genesis 3 to Revelation 20, it's going to be all grace. Can't be works and grace. It has to be all grace, and because from Genesis 3, before in the garden, it's all works. It's all pure works, and then what Ruckman is saying here, starting in the millennium, in Revelation 20, you're going to get an all-work system again. Now, we can argue about that and say, well, you know, is there grace in the millennium or is it a work system? That's arguable, an arguable decision issue to argue about, and one that needs to be investigated on. But if it's either one or the other, the millennium is either going to be all works or it's going to be all grace. There's going to be no faith works system in there. When we say faith, we're saying grace, because that's how you access grace. You can't access it by works. So it says here, we will not run into the works plan of salvation again before we get to Revelation chapter 20, and will not be found here, will not be found as it is here, purely works, anywhere between Genesis 3 and Revelation chapter 19. Okay? So it's a pure works. When works show up, it's pure works. It can't be mixed with faith. And that's what's shown in Genesis 3 in the garden. And if you want to say in the millennium, you want to say it's an entire work system, again, that's something we can be debated. But the point is, if it's going to be works, it's going to be pure works. If it's going to be grace, it's going to be pure grace. The two never mix. And so when this idea, this nonsense that you can mix grace and works, and somehow some system, is pure garbage. It's pure insanity. And Ruckman himself says, use the word pure works. It always has to be one or the other. And so when these guys jump up and down and says, oh, your New Testament salvation isn't like that in the garden. Yeah, we know it's pure works. That's where grace came in after the fall. And then the issue of Revelation 20, when the Millennium Kingdom comes up, and there's a lot of different things in Millennium, and a lot of issues going on there. If it's a work system in the Millennium, and people are going to make decisions, of course, at the final revolt, Satan is released, and you have the deception going on, then it's going to be pure works. Or it's going to be pure grace. But one thing it won't be is faith and works. Never faith and works, which is grace and works. Grace and works do not mix. So it's either one or the other, and they can never mix. They're like oil and water. You're either going to have pure works or pure grace. Amen. Thank you.